The BBC was recently under pressure to back its royal correspondent Mr. Witchell, after the broadcaster received complaints for his coverage of Prince Philip's funeral. The journalist, who has worked at the BBC since 1976, was heavily criticised for drawing focus on the reported rift between the Duke of Edinburgh's grandsons Prince William and Prince Harry. His article for the BBC claimed William seemed a little reluctant to engage with Harry, who was visiting the UK for the first time since he and his wife Meghan Markle had chosen to stand down from their senior roles in the royal family. The remarks made by Mr. Witchell were picked up by Twitter users, who accused the correspondent of not being impartial, and questioned why he felt it appropriate to gossip on a day of reflection at the funeral. DIYSOS host Nick Knowles also waded into the dispute, describing Mr. Witchell's analysis as complete drivel. While some viewers have claimed Mr. Witchell has appeared to side with the royal family during the ongoing Megxi dispute, it would appear he has won few fans inside Buckingham Palace. These most prominently include the two heirs to the throne, Charles and William. The dispute with Charles reportedly stems from Mr. Witchell likening a holiday the Prince of Wales took with his then-partner Camilla Parker Bowles to Greece, with that of one taken by Edward VIII and his mistress Wallis Simpson. A senior aide described Charles as shouting and complaining over his comments during a BBC News item, and that he was left particularly upset that the Queen had seen Witchell's broadcast too. Charles, the insider added, was absolutely furious for the BBC to make such a comparison. The incident happened in 2000, and throughout the remainder of the decade, tensions between Charles and Mr. Witchell continued to evaporate. 2 years later, in what was a devastating year for the Queen and other members of the firm, Mr. Witchell appeared to risk Charles' ire twice, including when he wrote an unflattering obituary for Princess Margaret. When Mr. Witchell detailed the copious consumption of whiskey Margaret enjoyed in her life before she died in 2002, Charles demanded the BBC axe the journalist. Once again, the broadcaster would stand by their man. Mr. Witchell also commentated on the Queen Mother's funeral the same year, describing scenes of people laughing and joking at the ceremony. Geoffrey Levy, a Daily Mail correspondent, noted that following these episodes, a series of important scoops would be handed to rival broadcasters, such as Sky and ITV. This included when a television documentary crew from ITV were given access to Camilla's friends, in what Mr. Levy described was a move by Charles to exact revenge on the BBC. He added, "Some of Camilla's best friends were wheeled out to bat for her cause, and put her in a positive light. Something Charles may have feared the BBC could not be trusted to do." Prince Harry's 21st birthday interview is another event which, in years gone by, would automatically have gone to the BBC. The interview, broadcast around the world, went, rather surprisingly, to Sky, with its then royal correspondent Catherine Whitty asking the questions. Clarence House denied snubbing the BBC. And perhaps most tellingly, ITV's Tom Bradby, then a royal correspondent, was given William and Kate, Duchess of Cambridge's engagement announcement interview, coverage ordinarily handed to the BBC. More recently, the BBC spoke out in support of Mr. Witchell, as he found himself in hot water for his comments on Harry and William. In his piece after Philip's funeral, Mr. Witchell wrote, "There is a rift. It is a distraction nobody would have wanted on a solemn occasion such as this, and certainly not the grieving grandmother. William feels let down and Harry appears to feel resentful. He is also very caught up in the lifestyle and attitudes of California. So what impact, one wonders, will this brief but intense re-immersion in his old life have had on Harry?" Those on Twitter voiced their condemnation of Mr. Witchell, including one who wrote, "A BBC royal correspondent's not subject to the same impartiality guidelines as other BBC journalists. If they are, can someone please explain how Nicholas Witchell seems to constantly get away with spouting heavily biased drivel?" Another said, If Prince Harry was in any doubt about whether he has done the right thing for him and his family, he need only watch Witchell's dire judgmental monologue. A third concluded, "But I would say that the 10 o'clock news is for reporting the day's news. It's not a platform for Witchell to espouse his theories and speculations. It was a very poor move to start gossiping after such a sad day." Following the backlash, a spokesperson for the BBC said William and Harry's relationship has been a focus of interest in recent weeks. They argued that Mr. Witchell offered analysis of the implications of this solemn event on the royal family and what could be construed about current family relations from what was seen at the funeral, adding, "This was a legitimate, impartial and proportionate part of the coverage of this story."